Tonight, in a decision that will be studied for generations, the United States Supreme Court has overturned the Trump-era tariffs, marking a dramatic shift in the nation's approach to international trade policy. The announcement sent immediate shockwaves through the global economy. Markets around the world reacted in real time, with investors scrambling to assess the far-reaching implications of the court's ruling. This landmark decision is poised to reshape trade relationships between the United States and its partners, alter the flow of goods across borders, and impact prices on everything from electronics to groceries. Experts predict it could trigger one of the largest financial payouts in U.S. history, as companies seek compensation for years of tariff-related losses. For years, these tariffs have divided the nation, praised by some as vital protection for American industry and jobs, yet condemned by others as a hidden tax that raised costs for families and businesses alike. The debate has played out in factories, farms, and households across the country. Now, the court's ruling brings an end to a contentious chapter in American economic history, forcing a national reckoning with the true consequences of the trade war and the constitutional limits of presidential authority over commerce. But this story is about more than just law or economics. It's about the small business owner struggling to keep the lights on, the farmer whose crops depend on fair trade, and the family watching prices rise at the grocery store. Their lives will be directly affected by what happens next. As we stand at this economic crossroads, the path forward is uncertain. Will this decision spark new opportunities or bring fresh challenges? Tonight, we break down every angle of this monumental decision, exploring what it means for America's future. The story begins with a policy that divided a nation and ends with a court ruling that will redefine its future, setting the stage for a new era in American trade and governance. To understand today's news, we must revisit the Trump administration's tariffs, launched in 2018 to protect American industries from foreign competition. These sweeping tariffs targeted China and other major trading partners, covering hundreds of billions in goods, from electronics to clothing. The legal basis was Section 3081 of the Trade Act of 1974, allowing presidential action against unfair trade practices. Critics warned tariffs often backfire, raising costs for American importers and consumers, while supporters saw them as vital for U.S. jobs. The impact was immediate. Manufacturers faced higher costs, farmers suffered from retaliatory tariffs, and consumers paid more. Years of legal challenges followed, setting the stage for today's historic Supreme Court decision. The economic reality was complex and painful, but it brought us to this pivotal moment. This morning, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that key Trump-era tariffs were unconstitutional, citing executive overreach and lack of congressional approval. The majority opinion, by Chief Justice Roberts, found the administration bypassed required legislative processes, making the tariffs legally void. This opens the door for massive financial repercussions, as every dollar collected under these tariffs was done so without proper authority. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce hailed the decision as a victory for business and consumers, while tariff supporters called it a blow to American manufacturing. The White House acknowledged the ruling and is reviewing its implications, with over $200 billion in tariff revenue at stake, and potential refunds approaching $1 trillion. This is one of the largest liabilities ever created by a single court ruling. The challenge for policymakers and the national budget is unprecedented. The Supreme Court's landmark decision has triggered an immediate and massive financial obligation for the U.S. government, potentially up to $1 trillion in refunds to companies that paid the now illegal tariffs. This staggering sum represents one of the largest government payouts in recent history, and its ripple effects will be felt across the entire economy. For businesses, this is nothing short of a windfall. Billions in refunds could quickly translate into new investments, expansion of operations, and significant job growth, especially in sectors that were hardest hit by the tariffs, like electronics, manufacturing, and home goods. Small businesses in particular may find themselves with unexpected capital to hire more workers, upgrade equipment, or even lower prices for consumers. Business leaders are already calling it a second stimulus, but this time, it's delivered by the court, not Congress. Many executives are optimistic, suggesting that these refunds could jumpstart economic activity in ways that traditional stimulus packages sometimes fail to achieve. For the government, however, paying out these massive claims will require significant new borrowing and put additional strain on an already stretched federal budget. This could mean tough choices ahead, possibly impacting spending on infrastructure, social programs, or other national priorities as resources are redirected to cover the refunds. The Treasury Department now faces the daunting administrative task of processing hundreds of thousands of refund claims. Experts warn that this process could take years to complete, as each claim must be carefully reviewed and verified to prevent fraud and ensure accuracy. For consumers, there's hope that lower import costs will eventually lead to lower prices on everyday goods. However, economists caution that these effects won't be immediate. Supply chains need time to adjust, and businesses may prioritize rebuilding reserves before passing savings on to shoppers. Relief at the checkout is likely on the horizon, but the exact timeline remains uncertain. Some families may notice price drops sooner than others, depending on the products they buy and how quickly businesses respond. The key question now is how quickly these sweeping changes will reach American families. Will the benefits trickle down in months, or will it take years before households feel the full impact of the Supreme Court's decision? The Supreme Court's decision reverberates globally, signaling a shift away from protectionism and offering a chance to repair strained alliances. Foreign leaders from the EU to China have responded with cautious optimism, seeing this as a step toward stability and cooperation. The removal of tariffs could lower global trade tensions and encourage more productive negotiations. Without tariffs as leverage, the U.S. must now rely on diplomacy and multilateral agreements. Some argue this weakens America's negotiating position. Others believe it fosters fairer, more sustainable trade. Global supply chains, long disrupted by tariffs, may now stabilize, benefiting businesses and consumers worldwide. The era of the trade war's central pillar has ended, but challenges remain. The Supreme Court's decision will ripple through every corner of the economy. Major retailers like Walmart and Target stand to gain enormous refunds and lower costs, boosting profits and potentially benefiting shareholders. For consumers, the end of tariffs means lower prices on everyday goods, from sneakers to appliances, offering relief amid high living costs. This could boost consumer confidence and spending, supporting the broader economy. However, domestic manufacturers once shielded by tariffs now face renewed competition from cheaper imports, raising concerns about job losses. Unions in some industries are already calling for support and retraining programs to help workers adjust. The ruling reignites the debate. Do we prioritize lower prices and free trade, or protect domestic industries? The answer will shape the economic landscape for years to come. The Supreme Court's ruling has upended Washington, forcing both parties to respond quickly. The administration must now manage the logistical and fiscal challenge of issuing massive refunds while touting the benefits of lower prices. Republicans, especially Trump allies, decry the decision as judicial overreach and a blow to American workers, vowing to fight for new trade protections. Democrats largely celebrate the ruling as a win for consumers and sensible economic policy, though some share concerns about manufacturing jobs. The trillion-dollar refund liability will dominate budget negotiations, with intense debates over spending, debt, and taxes. New alliances may form in Congress as lawmakers seek ways to support American industry within legal bounds. Whether Congress can manage the fiscal fallout or falls into gridlock remains to be seen. The political aftershocks will shape the next election and legislative agenda. Leading economists agree, reversing the tariffs will have a significant impact on the economy, especially in the short term. Many predict that the immediate effects will be positive, with growth rates expected to rise as businesses and consumers feel the relief. The removal of tariffs essentially acts as a massive tax cut, putting more money back into the hands of both companies and everyday Americans. This influx of refunds and lower prices is likely to spur new investments, encourage hiring, and boost consumer spending across a range of industries. Economists also point out that these changes could help curb inflation, as lower import costs translate to more affordable goods. However, experts caution that the transition won't be smooth for everyone. There are real risks and challenges ahead. While importers and consumers stand to benefit, domestic producers in previously protected sectors will face tough adjustments. Some manufacturers may struggle to compete with cheaper imports, leading to potential layoffs or even closures in certain industries. There's ongoing debate over the best long-term strategy for the country. Some experts argue that this ruling could force a healthy return to multilateralism, encouraging the U.S. to work more closely with global partners and build coalitions to address complex trade issues together. On the other hand, critics warn that losing tariff leverage might weaken America's ability to push back against unfair competition from abroad, potentially putting key industries at risk and making it harder to protect American jobs. To address these challenges, Economists say the government must step in to help workers and communities adapt to the new reality. This could mean investing in job training, supporting innovation, and providing resources to regions hit hardest by the changes. Without targeted support, there's a real risk of new pockets of economic hardship emerging, especially in areas dependent on industries vulnerable to increased competition. The coming years will reveal whether this policy shift is a short-term win or a long-term gamble. Lawmakers and experts alike are now debating the future direction of U.S. trade policy, weighing the potential benefits against the possible costs. Only time will tell which vision for America's economic future will ultimately prevail, as the nation navigates this pivotal moment in its trade history. Tonight, we witness a turning point. One chapter of American economic policy closes, another begins. The Supreme Court's decision brings the promise of lower prices and a $1 trillion government payout, but also reignites debates over protectionism and free trade. Political alliances will shift, fiscal challenges loom, and the real impact on families and businesses will unfold over time. The process of issuing refunds and adjusting supply chains will take years, while political battles will shape the next election. This moment affects everyone: your wallet, your job, your community. Stay informed, stay engaged, and consider what this decision means for you and your family. The future of the American economy is now in our hands.